Alrighty, so now we get down to something we talked about last session and the session before that, and that is the concept of utilizing role playing to change the course your actual life is on. And so we're going to be talking today about what kind of things you need to unlock your potential. What is it that you need to consider when looking at what skills that you wish to accept and attempt training on, which ones you have perceived that you have already got a skill in and you want to advance, and all of that. So the first one that's required is a frank assessment of resources. What do you know? To what level do you know it? What sources can you cite? What mechanisms can you draw into use? Which computer programs are you familiar with? These are all things that are your resources. Some of them are more tangible than others. Perhaps you have a penchant for public speaking. Maybe you have what it takes to do broadcast and to elevate your message beyond the living room, so to speak. This frank assessment is how you're going to determine the baseline numbers for the persona that you are wishing to advance toward. In my case, one of them is I wanted to become more of a public or visual presence, and to do that I had to change my appearance. Hence the change of my haircut, the change of my beard to a much more trimmed version. Even the style of clothing has somewhat changed when there's an increase in my revenue stream. One of my agendas is to get an entire wardrobe that's more suitable to what I'm trying to do. Until such time, I'm going to operate with what I've got to work with. But the idea is to have a really frank discussion of what you have, what your skill level is, and what you're attempting to increase, so that you can grant yourself the numeric rewards when they're justified and the ability to advance your persona towards your objective. This includes your arsenal of alternatives and tools. What is it you can draw upon? Are you a quick hire, quick study? Do you have a variety of skills? In my case, if you went through the panoply of the different occupations I've had: air traffic controller, microwave antenna installer, cellular technician. I owned a trucking company and a landscaping company and a moving company, and you can build out the list. Now, in certain cases, they are supportive. The skills that I have as a landscaper definitely would have helped me with the muscle structure required to be a mover, but they don't necessarily directly align, so it's a matter of understanding where your skill crossovers are and granting your skill modifiers accordingly. Once you've developed this list, then it becomes a matter of how you're going to advance the character through your story. Now, your story is obviously those things that happen with you in them or without you throughout the passage of time going forward, but you really need to also be able to dedicate your processes to develop the discipline to do the things that you need to accomplish what you want. I've just recently started back with fundamentally a form of physical therapy is to get back into my roller skates, and I put them on the other day, and I was shaky as a leaf, but I still could navigate, I still could move, and so this is just a tiny step forward, but it does re-establish where my baseline level is, because if you had asked me where I was without knowing and not having put the skates on in a while, I would have made an overestimation, and then I'd have had to be embarrassed to bring that back down. So by recognizing when I put the skates on that I'm way back down on the skill level, now I can begin that progress to advancement again, recognizing what it's going to take. The next is to make sure that you are engaging in these actions in an actual operational environment. If all you're doing is practicing your practice, you'll only be good at practicing. So if you are not a public speaker, find ways to become one, if that's what your goal is. Find places to speak, whether it be in a community study program, maybe in a school classroom environment, there's a ton of ways to start to progress down any skill path. If you wanted to be a carpenter, you got to swing a hammer, and you got to swing a hammer to build something. So start looking at how you can do that. The idea here is that you want to engage in actual operations because it will actually give you actual feedback on your talent and skill level, so that you can make the adjustments to approach the levels of competency you're looking for. The final thing in this portion is to realize that your actions in the field need to provide you with feedback. So you've got to be willing to accept frank and functional feedback from individuals that observe you, whether it be I'm not to the point where my skate competency is back to where I would be willing to do so, but in short order I will eventually be going back to a skating rink so that I can get feedback. I can look at the comparative values of what I know versus what others know, what my muscles have relearned, and so on. And by having this feedback, I'm going to be able to therefore adjust and alter not only what I think I know about myself, but what real advances look like. When you do all of this, when you allow for all of this, you're providing yourself an opportunity to look at a capacity for course correction. Let's say I find I don't have the chops to be a dancer on skates anymore. Maybe I'll relegate myself to just simply being a casual skater again. Who knows? I might find I can get back up to the level of proficiency I once had, but I won't know until I try it. So by going through the process and engaging not only in the practice world, but in the functional world of roller skating, for example, then I can actually get the feedback to know what I might have and therefore course correct. Maybe adjusting from competitive dancer back down to general roller skater. And this all leads also to the idea the fact that you need to be able to develop realization of recurrent renewal. As you practice and you esteem, like for example, in the case of my appearance, I've made changes to set a new baseline. I haven't determined whether or not I've gotten to that new baseline yet. I'm therefore experimenting a little. If you've noticed, I've done various things with the chin whiskers and stuff to decide what I want to do in that avenue. But these will lead me to an idea of whether or not this transformation was where I wanted to go, or whether I need to look at another radical transformation protocol in the future. The main point is that the reason for doing all of this is to make the measurements of your movement measurable. You want to be able to determine if I've spoken publicly for, say, my 50th episode, am I a better public speaker than I was 50 episodes ago? Can I quantifiably see the difference, and can I track that so that I can make measurable, metered, acknowledged advancements, so that character development in the character sheet, the idea of keeping my new role in mind, I can continue to move towards that projection in a realistic way. And by doing these pieces, I bring the role of that which I want to be more in line with the person that I am, to the point where they will once again align and I will be the person I want to be. The reality is that the world is a game and we are all merely players, and the only way to win is to actually play the game. So, with having said that, we have reached the end of the materials I had for today. I'm running right about the same time frame, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. This has been NycosRPG Nightly. This has been Game Master J. I'm still Game Master J. Jonathan Albman, and I will see you next time. Here's the information you need to know about our resources. If you want to know where to gain access to NycosRPG, you can go to NycosRPG.com, which has product info and merchandising. If you go to NycosRPG.info, you'll get information on the story lore, the current campaigns that are going on, and much, much more. Of course, you can join our Discord and become part of the community by going to right down here below on the Twitch page, you can get the access to our Discord information. And if you want to truly become a part of the community, check out our patreon.com/Nykos site so that you can find out what it takes to become a citizen of Nykos and become a participant in our Nykos only games groups and get access to advanced information and such. Alrighty, that will conclude the show for now. Make sure if you like what you've seen, you follow us here on Twitch. If you haven't yet gone over to YouTube, we are at NycosRPG, and you can watch tons and tons of videos, including our playthroughs and other types of videos. More of the Nykos Nightly News sequences and story lore as well. This has been Jonathan Alban, Game Master J, and this is Nykos